Hello, Internet. Welcome back to our golf scenario playthrough of Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead. In the last episode, we took a much needed rest from murdering zombies so that we could just relax a bit and move into town here. We settled in, we took a sleep for the night so that our arm could recover. Didn't recover quite as much as we would have liked. And then we continued exploring and murdering daycare. Just taking care of business around town here, dealing with this daycare, making sure it's cleared out. We are in a position now where we can probably move into the town a little bit and explore, but we're also going to set up our base here in the future as well. So that's what we're up to. Alrighty, we did make a copper spear as well, so we have a new spear. Our gear is in not so good shape, but there's not a ton we can do about that now. Our mini-map is screwed up, I see. I guess because I alt-tabbed out. Why don't we search this daycare? I don't know that we really did. Might as well look for goodies. We did get a couple baseball bats from the child zombies as well, which is nice to have. Do any of you have books or anything? Some cookies. It's a daycare, it's not a school, so there probably wouldn't be very many books. And if they are, they're probably very low-level childlike books like the comic book here. Not sure why kids need a phone book, or really why anyone needs a phone book in 2021, but that's okay. Check the bathrooms, anything in there? No? Okay, well. So just a location that's absolutely packed with child zombies and has basically no loot in it whatsoever. In Cataclysm, it can be like that sometimes where there's not really a reward to go with your risk. I'm fine with that. I know some people have an issue with that. I think that's mostly fine. From a gameplay perspective, From a gameplay perspective, it's actually not super satisfying. It can be pretty frustrating when you go through a lot of trouble to clear something out and then basically find nothing. So I get why people are upset over that. I just think that from the context of a zombie apocalypse, it does kind of make sense. There could be zombies lots of places that would not necessarily give you value for clearing them out. Why don't we check to the north here, see how clear it is on this side. Some zombies, but they're pretty far north. Most of the ones that were here would have been drawn to us when we were shooting, so I'm not really concerned about that. And I'm guessing they all came from this park type area is probably where they came from when they were approaching us. So let's loot this house. And I said in the last episode we didn't get a question, so let's get a question now. So let's scroll through here. Don't look at it. Click. Tell me a story. Oh, well, that's very straightforward. We actually do that all the time. I always tell you stories from my life. That's 99% of the content is me talking about my life and things like that. So that's not terribly exciting. Not much of a question either. It's actually a statement. Tell me a story. Tell you a story. Let's not do from my life. Let's do something different. I did kind of tell you a story when I was telling you the whole Les Mis thing in a previous episode. So we did that pretty recently as well. I don't think we're going to do that. So I'll just make something up. I'll just tell you like a story. I don't know if it'll be good. As we learned in my AI Dungeon series, I'm actually not very good. No, stop. No, don't drink the unclean water. As we learned in my AI Dungeon series, I'm not super great at improv, which is a shame. It's one of the things that comes up all the time if you ever watch, like for YouTube stuff, they'll often stress the importance of improv. And a lot of the really big YouTubers will take improv classes and stuff. Like I'm pretty sure Markiplier is huge into improv, which is probably part of why he does so well. Cotton trench coat, cotton duster. No. Imagine not wearing leather. I mean, honestly, who doesn't wear leather? So I think improv is actually one of those valuable traits for being a content creator. Depending on the type of content you make. If you're someone who makes gaming content, I think it's pretty valuable to be able to improv so you can make jokes based off of what you see and stuff like that. It is a little hard in Cataclysm because there's not a whole lot going on screen at any given time. There's no character dialogue to poke fun at, that sort of thing. And if you do like scripted videos, it's probably not super valuable. Like, let's say I'm teaching you how to use Photoshop. Well, improv isn't really going to help you very much there. That's more of a public speaking experience with teaching, that sort of thing. But I think for gaming YouTubers, yeah, do you think improv has some value. I've never taken an improv course or really improved anything. And in fact, part of it is just that I'm embarrassed and I feel like I don't do a good job with that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying, okay, let's give this a shot. Let's check this basement. Looks pretty empty, which is good and bad. No zombies to fight, but also no real reward for coming down here. Fire extinguisher. We'll take another t-shirt for sure. Trying to gather up some t-shirts. Royal jelly. Oh my. Has very little value these days. So if you played old versions of Cataclysm, Royal jelly was like a cure-all. That's actually not the case anymore. That was changed. So we have a look at the royal jelly here. Translucent hexagonal chunk of wax filled with dense, milky, bitter, and acidic tasting jelly. Though some hold it as a panacea, it doesn't have any medical benefit. Still, it is rich with the most beneficial substances the hive can produce. So probably in the future this will be nutrient dense, would be my guess, is that it would have some healthy, benefit to it, but it is no longer a panacea. It doesn't cure everything. So because of that, it's a lot less valuable now than it was, 8 months ago or in 0.E or whatever. What are you? Anyway, I'm supposed to be doing an improv story. Okay. Well, you always start with once upon a time. So once upon a time, there was a gazelle. Yes, we're going to go with a gazelle. Why not? Lots of stories follow animals. So there was a gazelle. His name was Philip Seymour Hoffman. So we have a gazelle called Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, this particular gazelle was a bit strange. He was a bit peculiar. The other gazelles kind of treated him strangely. They didn't really want him to be around. He never felt like he belonged to the herd. He felt so alienated and isolated. And he would go with the other little gazelles and they would just always keep him at a distance. They didn't want to be around him. They would run away from him. They wouldn't let him play in their little gazelle games or whatever they say in Rudolph. So Philip Seymour Hoffman led a really isolating, kind of sad life and, always felt isolated and lonely. And you can tell that this is improv coming straight from my heart because it's immediately depressing and sad. So Philip Seymour Hoffman always felt alienated, isolated, lonely. And one day he went to his father. Philip Seymour Hoffman said, "Dad, I go with the other gazelles and they just, I always feel so different. I feel like they don't see me. I feel like they don't know me as a person. I feel like they don't like me. I feel like everyone looks at me and sees that I'm strange and weird and people don't want me around. And I feel so lonely, Dad. How do I connect with my peers? Young people don't talk this way. How do I connect with the other gazelles? I just want companionship. I just want someone to acknowledge me." So Philip Seymour Hoffman says all of this to his father, and his mother is there. His mother looks at him. His father looks at him. And then his dad says nothing because he's a gazelle. Because gazelles can't talk. Philip Seymour Hoffman realizes, finally, that he's the only gazelle that can talk. And that has been why everyone is so freaked out and afraid of him, because he is a talking gazelle, and that's pretty freaking weird. The end. The end of the story. God, that was terrible. Hopefully that's... I can't improv. Can't do it, right? Kind of backed myself into a corner. I don't know how to improv. Like I said, we talked about AI Dungeon multiple times. I feel like there's something in that game that could be really good content if I were better at improv, or if I had some sort of way to cobble together a meaningful story or something like that. But I just never, for a little bit there, I was playing it in my free time, but I haven't really played it recently. And I feel like, I don't know, I look back at that content. I don't think it was terrible, but I also don't think people responded very well to it. So motorcycle armor has pretty good values attached to it compared to what we've been wearing. And this actually would cover our arms as opposed to I believe we're wearing a sleeveless trench coat. We also have a leather duster here, which would do the same thing. Let's have a... Oops, sorry, got attacked by some hiccups. let's have a look here at our gear. We are wearing the arm sleeves, which are basically gone. We can trash those. Sleeveless leather duster. Yeah, is worse protection. And I actually like this. So again, we talked about Kevin making some changes to the way armor works. A leather duster isn't meant to be armor. Not really. It's a duster. Whereas motorcycle gear is specifically designed to prevent injury from like falling off a bike on the asphalt and getting tore up by, rubbing against the concrete and stuff. So the motorcycle armor, it makes perfect sense that that would be better. And in fact, in previous iterations of the game, the motorcycle armor was worse than some leather gear. So it's actually, in my opinion, really cool to see that this has been changed. So this sleeveless leather duster is better than nothing. It's better than wearing cotton clothing, but this motorcycle armor is far and away multiple times better, like 400% better, 800% better, 1,200% better in some cases. So we definitely will be wearing this armor. The problem is that it's pretty significantly encumbering because it doesn't fit us. And our tailoring skills are not good enough to resize this clothing. And in fact, I'm not going to pursue tailoring enough to get to a point where we would be able to refit it. So the question becomes, do we accept a lot of torso encumbrance in exchange for pretty significant protection from damage? And I think the answer is probably yes. 49 is unbearable. That's too much torso encumbrance. So what can I do to lighten that burden? Let's have a look at our torso here. Oh, really nothing. I can't do anything. So basically the t-shirt and the compression top both have 0 encumbrance, so that's not something that is a problem at all. The only issue is apparently that the motorcycle armor fits the normal layer as well as the t-shirt, which I find a bit odd. I would have expected that to be an outer layer. But so that's 2 encumbrance right there. If we take off our t-shirt, that's 2 encumbrance we will save ourselves. And then the only other thing is our backpack, which we cannot take off. Where's my M4, by the way? I dropped my M4 somewhere. I really need that. We should go back and find that immediately, because that's really crucial. The other thing is that as we empty our backpack, we would get less encumbrance. But the reality is we don't have very much in our backpack, so we're really not that encumbered due to our backpack. So this number, we can get it down to probably about 47, which is still incredibly high. Why is that? Why is the backpack that encumbering? It's 21 torso encumbrance, 26 when full. Is it full? Briefcase, cargo pants, and I dropped my duster. Go back and get the duster as well. We need to carry that with us. Maybe let's go back to base and empty our stuff and get our gun and see what difference that makes. It's weird that the duster appears to be a raincoat on the ground. I see, so we can't actually fit it. Go ahead and put it on since we're just going to be walking home. Our torso encumbrance is probably like 70 right now. 55 plus 2. That's actually not nearly as terrible as I would have thought. Let's go back to base, unload some of this stuff, and we need to find our M4. So let's have a look here. M4. Right there. Okay. Is that the gun I was using? It is. Wear that. Okay, so let's take care of this. For now, let's just dump our stuff. Drop all this. It's the clothing mostly that's giving us all that fill up space in our backpack. So let's have a look at our encumbrance. 42. Take off the duster. Unload the duster. Okay. Drop the duster. Now have a look at our encumbrance. 40 plus 7. Still too high. We can drop the M4, which will drop probably like 10 points or something like that. 35 plus 2. We could take off the t-shirt because it's not really giving us very much protection anyway. So that's 2 more encumbrance. So we're at 35. 35 is pretty significant. So what I need to do, which is something I've needed to do for years, and I never have taught myself this behavior, what I need to do is drop my backpack every time we get into combat. If you watch bigger people than me on YouTube or on Twitch. I mean, Vorm is really the only person who streams regularly who's like really big on in the Cataclysm community. But if you watch Vorm, Vorm knows you drop your backpack before you get into combat. I have never ingrained that knowledge into my brain, and so it has not become muscle memory for me. So I think we really need to make a point to start doing that. So I think what we can do is we can put the M4 back on, because that's pretty minimal. It's only 7 encumbrance, and if we drop the backpack, it will be 5 encumbrance. Drop my backpack really quick. I'm sorry, what is this? 40 plus 5? Drop the backpack. 34. That's still pretty high. But I can't drop the gun. I need the gun for an emergency. Pick up the backpack. Where the backpack? Oh man, what could I do to fix this? I don't want to give up the motorcycle armor. It's just too good compared to the clothing that we've been wearing. It's many, many times better. And it's protection on our arms, which we haven't had. Go ahead and drop those arm sleeves, by the way. They're not doing us any favors here. So it'd still be like 35. I mean, it's tolerable. It's just still high. I prefer my encumbrance to be under 30 if I'm able. Just got to remember, just drop that backpack. That's all we have to really focus on is drop the backpack. All right, let's go back to exploring. I have no idea what we were talking about. Probably still how I'm terrible at improv. But I don't know, internet. You ever take an improv class? I've never done that. I think improv would be fun, but I have so many self-esteem issues. And part of being funny and doing something like improv, you do, and I mean this in like the best possible way, you're making a fool of yourself, right? Like it's sort of crucial to being a funny improv person is that you put yourself out there and you embarrass yourself, right? Think about the baseball helmet is iron. Is that really what they're made of? I haven't worn a baseball helmet in like, they made us wear them in school when we would play baseball at the bat. They were plastic though. I guess they probably have a plate in them or something. They are heavy. I've never really considered that. But anyway, it's excellent protection. I do think we have a helmet already. What am I wearing on my head? Am I really not wearing any head protection? Hard hat. Okay. Yeah, the hard hat is comparable. Let's look at which has the lower actually, encumbrance on your head doesn't matter. All that head encumbrance does is determine how many helmets you can wear. So once you reach a certain value, I think it's 40 encumbrance, you can't wear anymore. So if it would put you above 40, so for instance, here we have the hard hat, which is 15 encumbrance, and here we have the baseball helmet, which is 20 encumbrance. So in theory, I should be able to wear both. No, you can't wear other headgear. So maybe that's not the only thing that limits that, which makes sense. You know, if you're wearing helmets, you wouldn't wear two. But anyway, that's the number I believe that you can't go above if you're trying to wear like multiple hats and helmets and things in conjunction. So, but anyway, so the encumbrance on the baseball helmet is more, but the protection is slightly more. 9, 9, and 6. I believe the hard hat was 8, 8, 8. Yeah, I think we'll keep the hard hat is fine, and we'll just keep the baseball helmet as a backup. So, yeah, we already looked in here. We already looked in the bathroom. What do you got? Aspirin, soap. And then we were checking back here, I believe, when we walked away. So let's pick up any other gear we might want. A red leather jacket. Candy apple red. Okay. We'll take this, I guess, for no reason. Maybe we, want the leather later or something like that. Take the fur scarf, take the leather duster. Like, all these are just backup gear in case we would need to swap out for those. Because, again, we're not going to have the ability to repair our motorcycle gear. We're just never going to get our skills that high, probably. So, head on back, drop this stuff off. Got to remember, drop your bag, drop your bag. But yeah, you watch something like Whose Line Is It Anyway? Obviously is a very public example of improv. How often do they make fools of themselves, right? And don't get me wrong, they're funny, and it's enjoyable to watch. Growing up, I watched a lot of Whose Line. Way back when it was like, what's the host in that? It was like the British guy. I want to say his name was Clive. I don't know. I can't remember. But I would watch for years. I watched Whose Line Is It Anyway and stuff like that. When I was young, I watched a lot of stand up. I watched a lot of improv because I wanted to be the funny guy, which eventually I was. We're gonna ignore the zapper. We're gonna go back and get our quarterstaff so that we don't get continually zapped in our body. And yeah, they're very funny. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that they're bad at what they do. They're excellent at what they do. Many of them, anyway. Sometimes the guests are a little lackluster, but the main people who reliably show up for that show, they're very funny, and for good reason. But they also embarrass themselves, which is like a key part of comedy, is saying and doing things that are funny because they're outrageous, they're uncommon, they're not something that the average person would do, right? So I don't know, I think the thing that would hold me back with improv would be my fear of embarrassing myself, my fear of putting myself out there and possibly being ridiculed. Think about like who's the funniest. Think about funny improv people. First one that comes to mind for me is Steve Carell, right? Very funny. Michael Scott on The Office did a lot of that show, had improv lines, and they worked together to write that. 40-Year-Old Virgin. A lot of his movies, he works improv stuff into his characters, and that's because he's really, really good at it. He is really funny guy, and he does a pretty good job at doing those sort of things. Thought this rabbit was an enemy. It is not. Hello, mysterious Z. Who are you? A scarred zombie. Deformed human body, its skin transformed into one thick, calloused envelope of scar tissue. Well, that sounds lovely. So I believe that this zombie is a wasp zombie. Isn't it? This is like the beekeeper zombie? Something like that. So I think that they generally show up around wasp nests. Of course, we're not seeing one. I don't know if it would show up on the map. Maybe from a garden or something. Maybe there's like beehives there or something I'm missing. Or maybe it's a completely different enemy and I'm mixing it up with something else. Scarred zombie. He's scared. Yeah, I don't know what to make of that. I'm seeing a lot of headless zombies and a lot of other zombies, which I'm not super keen on because there's just houses. There's not much up there for us. Why don't we clear to the east or the west instead here? And we'll see about getting in that veterinary clinic. If some of them come down and we have to fight them, that's totally fine. It's just I'm not going to go up there and make a special trip when I don't have to. And clear out a bunch of zombies if I don't have to. Someone did in my comments recently, they said, does burning down a building still help clear out a town? And I'll be honest, I don't do that. I don't burn down houses. Mostly because it's very loud and annoying. So if I'm going to be living in the area, I really don't want to hear the constant crashing and wrecking of a building. But also because fire doesn't really work outside the reality bubble. So unless you're nearby, the fire will just burn forever. And I don't enjoy standing around waiting for a building to burn. So I'm not sure how much they clear things out. And I'm not sure whether it's worth doing. Because I'm not sure how you even get access to the corpses afterwards to pulp them. Do they still resurrect if they're in the rubble and stuff? I don't know how that works. And I would hate for the building to burn down, draw, hundreds of zombies or whatever, dozens of zombies, and then kill them in the fire, but then have them all resurrect over time and me not be able to stop them. So I don't really know what to make of that. We're going to avoid the veterinary clinic. We don't want that alarm to go off. I assume there's an alarm. So we're going to pull them out here instead of... Like, we could have gone in the building to fight them inside, but I don't think that would have been... Oh, don't crouch. That would be very bad. Another thing I'm noticing... We noticed in the last episode... Man, you're really smashing that vehicle, huh? In the last episode, we talked about the indicators for the sprint... Like, the sprint indicator being changed to some arrows. Another thing I'm noticing is that when I move to one side or the other, it flips to the other side. So when I got that crouching notifier, I actually didn't notice because it changed sides and I thought it had disappeared. So I have to keep an eye on that as well. And we just got in a fight and I forgot to drop my bag. So clearly I'm a genius and I'm very good at Cataclysm. Let's get our stamina back and get that mouse cursor off the screen. Ignore. Okay. So this time, anything seeing me? Doesn't look like it. Let's pop in here. Most of the good stuff is probably behind locked doors, but we might be able to find something we want. You know what? We will take that scalpel. It's a little bit better than the X-Acto knife. Protein powder. Dog whistles. No. Some dog food. We'll take that, I guess. Some adhesive bandages. I never use adhesive bandages. A couple pet carriers. They don't seem to have a Sprite. We already have one of those books. This appears to be a back door outside. Okay, it's a little closed off room. Where's your medical supplies? You're a veterinary clinic. Surely, really, there's just no medic. Oh, I see. So there's a door back here. It's probably a little medicine closet, and it's probably locked, and we're not going to be able to get into it. We already have a big book of first aid. Take paramedics, although I think that's just a level 1 book. Pop mechanics we'll take as well. Might have a few recipes, although I think it's just like mechanics to 1 or something like that. So yeah, we're not able to get into that locked door. I'm guessing you're another... Oh, your bathroom. Oh, no, you're not. You're a little storage room as well. We would wash up, I guess, before seeing a dog. Take another scalpel, I guess. Don't really need fungicide. We'll take the sewing kit. Don't need the scissors. Okay, yeah, so the good stuff would be behind this door, would be my guess, which we don't have the ability to really do anything about. So, why don't we set this building on fire so that we can see how this process works? Like I said, someone left me a comment suggesting that I do that. We can do that. So, go in the rear. Oh, the door is locked from both sides. Makes perfect sense. Why would a door not be locked from both sides? It's perfectly fine. Although I guess if it's a key door, you know, it would be locked. It doesn't matter. Let's set this bookshelf on fire. Let's set this table on fire. Just treat the arsonist in us a little bit to a nice little treat. Pop in here. We'll set this desk on fire. Set some waiting chairs on fire. Make sure we've got multiple ignition points so that when the arson investigator comes by, they will know that I did this and it was not just a coincidental burning down of a building. And the problem is, I think it takes a long time for fire really to spread. Why don't we just chill here for a minute? Oh, our temperature is rising. Is that because of the fire? There's no hot air here. Why is my temperature rising? Okay, let's just chill. If we become too hot, we'll walk away. But I would like to see how the fire progresses, how long it takes to spread and stuff. Take the filthy backpack. Okay. Just chill for a little bit. Can see the fire in the desk, the office room as well. Just waiting. Let's wait. I'm a little hesitant to wait too long. Zombie spotted. No, you're far away. Wait 5 minutes. Ignore. 5 minutes. Still not spreading, huh? Small fire. Small fire. Yeah, like I said, this is part of it. I don't like the idea of just standing around waiting for a building to burn down. I mean, I'm in here walking around. There doesn't seem to be any issue at all. Okay, wait another 5 minutes. Ignore. Did you spread? No, still just a small fire. So what do people do when they set a building on fire? Do they just stand around for like 3 hours until it catches fire? From the north you hear crash. Oh, okay. Starting to get something. You hear crash. Okay, so we're gonna leave, and the reason for that is because as the building starts to crash, it's gonna make a lot of noise, which is gonna draw the zombies, I think. Oh, unless we were hearing something smashing this vehicle. Whatever. Let's back off. That runner did see us. Oh, that is what I'm hearing. Yeah, they're smashing that vehicle. Why are you guys doing that? There's nothing over there. Do they hear the fire burning, maybe? It does seem to be drawing the zombies to it. Here as well. What, why, though? Okay, I mean, we need to stay close to it. Otherwise, it's not going to burn. Why don't we go in this house and just chill? Let's go get a book. And we'll read and let it burn. Oh, are you following me? Don't follow me. Go play with the fire. That's the whole point of the fire, is to get your attention so that you go to the fire. Okay, that's extremely rude. Okay, you're dead. Let's pulp, grab anything. Nope. Head into the base here. I forgot to drop my backpack again. Just super bad at life. Let's drop this stuff. We will pick up a book and we will go over there and we'll just read to kill some time. The book should be out here still. Oh, we have a lot of books. You know, we should call the episode. Let's just call the episode here. In the next episode, we will read these books to see which one we would like to raise. Maybe we can find one that actually gives us something we want. And yeah, we'll go from there. We'll go chill and let that building burn down a little bit and see what happens. Although my expectations are not very high. We'll see what happens. You know, it's something I haven't done in the game in a really long time. Why not? You know, it's fun. Burn down a building. Why not? Who doesn't like arson? All right, for now, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. I, of course, will be back with more Cataclysm in the near future, and I'll see you next time.